All right, we're back. It's been almost 3 years. House is done. There's a lot of stuff that we've done here. I'll try to cover it as best I can and throw in some pictures here and there to get an idea. Now let's get to it. So right off the bat, you can kind of notice something's different here. The house sloped a good 8 inches from one side to the other, so after leveling all the floors, there was no way to really fit a front door in without building this large awning here to lift the ceiling right where the door is. But we'll talk a little more about that when we get to the outside. We'll start with the kitchen. There was that utility room, which is now gone. Hey boys. And opened up into a larger kitchen area. Cabinets along this wall. The fridge was against that back wall over there. And so, tearing this floor up, there was just rotted boards. The house had sunk so far over here. The plywood on the exterior was touching the ground, and all that had to be ripped up. Every single 2x4 in the wall has been leveled, and the ceiling was vaulted and reinforced it. Then I'm sure you noticed right here at the beginning, just got a little drink station. There's seltzer waters on draft. You can put soda or beer or whatever else. We actually had Home Depot do the counters, but I hand built all the cabinets. Right when you come in, there's a large wardrobe cabinet here, and just have coats and stuff in here. But all the cabinets are finished on the interiors, which was a good amount of work to do. Nice farmhouse sink, dishwasher here. Added a window above the sink and a little breakfast area here. And then this entryway was made a lot bigger. Used to be about a foot smaller. And then there was that closet in the spare room that just kind of split in half and made into halfway into a pantry here. You can see. So it's just two smaller closets, one in that spare bedroom and one in the kitchen. All these lights are dimmable, of course, and you can kind of set a mood or have some lights on for when you get home. Coming into the living room, again, reconstructing walls and leveling the floor. Lifted the ceiling in this room as well. And this ceiling is about, just under 1,000 pieces of individual trim. Little metal stiles here to cover the bolt holes and stuff on the ceiling. And then these lights in here also dim and whatever else, but there's some recessed lighting up there in the boxes there. It's just crown molding and 4x4s and plywood and that such. These door jambs are massive too in some of the rooms. The house was so crooked. I think this wall sloped a good 8 inches or 9 inches from bottom to top. The idea is not to take out the old structure, but it's to square up on top of it because we don't want the house to resettle more. Though we did remove a lot of structure in the kitchen. There was a drop down roof, because I think this used to just be a covered patio at one time, and then they made it into a room and just kind of covered the drop down roof. So the demo and removal of that stuff was just wild. And then you could also see how high the door goes past the ceiling, which is why that whole awning outside is kind of built, that porch cover rather. Lots of angles, lots of fun crowning and clearances, making sure that doors open and still have room, just barely. This wall here going into the spare bedroom, actually moved that back about a foot to make that room just a little bit bigger, which makes the living room smaller, but they get kind of added to it. So this room here used to be open and walk into the bathroom utility room combo. This is now a separate room just for utilities. So in the back here, you've got washer and dryer. Well, I'm working on the wash right now. It's got a bad spider for it. But here's the furnace, AC unit. And then got a whole house filtration system and point of use water heater. That's just a scale and carbon and a 200 micron filter. Then got the fan for the bathroom. I put it outside of that room so it's not loud when it turns on. Of course, added some smoke detectors and insulation and all you new utilities to the road, and it's pretty much just a new house in an old one. So moving on here, this is the spare room. Not too much has changed in here. I've already worked on this a couple years ago. Got this room pretty much done. I did have to rip up the floor and level it and refloor everything. And then staircase that goes up to the loft there. Hey. Moving on here. It's the bathroom. This is a huge project. Poured a gigantic pad. Got all this stone. It's a Park City slate stone. Fit it and ground it all down with a diamond grinder and got it all smooth and looking nice. And this is just a maple slab from a local lumber store, and cut it up for sinks and everything. And you've got pop-up vents for USB and plugs and stuff like that. And then a shower area, and it's just 2 shower heads. It's open concept, large rectangular drain in the floor. And you can just, that bottom faucet, you could just set your temperature and then choose what you want to turn on, 1 or 2 of the heads or the handle. And moving around here, you got bathtub. And then, believe it or not, I put in a heating element for all this stone, so you can control how warm the floor is here with this control. And that room this is where the bathtub was. So I divided the rooms, split it, and just made a little poop cave, if you will. And a nice cabinet in there for that. Pretty straightforward. The vents for that fan that's in the utility room. There's one in here, and there's one right there. I moved to pocket doors because this is a pretty small house, so got to have keep space where we can, but there's 3 pocket doors in the house now, and they all can lock, so you can have privacy and whatnot. Okay. The last room is a spare bedroom. Added a door on either side of it. I think originally we were going to make this 2 rooms, but decided instead to do something a little more wild and vaulted the ceiling up to 13 feet, and then just kind of added some, this is all attic space up here, and it's closed in, it's drywalled in there, it goes over the living room, and that's a librarian ladder. You can pull it out and it'll roll across the floor to get up to that attic space. But this room was quite a project too. All the walls are full of bricks, and I guess most of the house, the walls had bricks up to about 4 feet high, and there's additional windows and stuff that you could see that they just kind of buried and whatnot. And then the closet it's now a little bit smaller, but it's plenty of space in here. It's all the home theater stuff. Sorry for all the motion sickness here. Okay, let's move outside. So, I've been carrying these beams around forever. Thought they'd be perfect for this. They're sunk pretty deep into the ground. Lots of custom styles. All this stone that you'll see around the house is left over from the bathroom. Made a lot of custom pieces of trim and corbels and all that. Poured some slabs, and then actually poured a stud foundation around the entire house with rebar to protect against sagging and moisture and stuff. And all these little black things you see are just vents for it. And that piece up there, that was actually the very last piece of the house. It's a little copper capper here, a little steeple. Should patina over time and turn nice and green. All the trim is just got a giant pallet of 1x6 cedar and use it for doing most of the trim in the house, soffits, and cedar lasts a long time outside, so it's a good material, and it looks pretty. Made these windows much larger. Those other windows were just beautiful, but I had to sacrifice them. There's actually lighting around the house too on the outside. And we add this nice little porch, report it. So we've got mosquito screen on it, and there's a couple of gutters. They're all dropped down, chain, and dug some deep wells so it just drains right into the ground instead of going all over the place. And then more of that cedar up on the ceiling. It's been quite a project. Very demanding. It's good to be done. Now we can start doing some other stuff. Got a lot of stuff we're gonna do with the exterior of the house too. All utilities come out here. The water heater for the furnace, AC unit. I've only covered just a little bit of how much work that project actually was, but it's nice to be done, and thanks for all the people that helped out there on the journey. Thanks for watching.